earlier class about the second year's botany, I've just given you an introduction, and we have started with the first chapter, that is transportation in plants, belonging to the unit plant physiology. So starting with the very first slide, I'll just give you a brief description of all the slides, so you will have a glance, and the people who have missed it, just have a refer about it. You can refer the previous video. So we have started with transportation. So what is transportation? Initially, transportation is nothing but movement of substances from one place to other place. Similarly, in the human, as in human beings, we have as we move from one place to other place for our various facilities or various needs. Plants also do have certain needs, like they require certain amount of water and food materials to be transported in them. And how do these plants and how do these water and food materials to be transported in the plants? We are going to study in brief about all these criteria and all these conditions which are required for the transportation of substances in the plants. So initially we have started with the subject called plant physiology, and who is the father of plant physiology, and what is the study of plant physiology dealt with. Okay. And next we have studied about diffusion. What are the diffusion? Various types of diffusion, that is facilitated diffusion. Next we have discussed about active transport, passive transport, then factors affecting active transport. So now I am going to start with the topic called as osmosis. Osmosis is the topic which we are going to start today. So it is in this topic, initially we will discuss with the term osmosis was coined by French physician called as Reine-Joachim Henri de Tronchet. The name is Reine-Joachim Henri de Tronchet. He is the French physician who has invented who has coined the term osmosis. So what is osmosis? Osmosis is nothing but it is the movement of particles from its higher concentration to its lower concentration. I am telling you in brief that it is its higher concentration. Why do I tell its? Because some substances, like for example, you can take in a bowl of in a big bowl, you have got some pure water. Okay, in pure water there is no concentration, isn't it? It is a pure water. You can say distilled water also. So in the distilled water there is no concentration in the water itself, whereas if you add certain amount of salt or sugar to that water, salt or sugar I am telling you. So if you add certain amount of salt or sugar to that water, the concentration of water will be changing. Yes or no? Why? Because the pure water, you can say distilled water, does not have any concentration. It is the net amount will be zero for the pure water or distilled water. When you will add certain amount of sugar concentration or salt concentration to that pure water, then the concentration of water will be increased or decreased depending upon the solution you have added. For example, I'll tell you, if in a pure water you have added more amount of sugar, then what happens? The concentration of the water will be becoming into higher concentration, which is called as hypertonic solution. I repeat once again, if a spoonful of sugar is added into a glass full of water, what happens? The solution which is present is called as hypertonic solution. Okay, hypertonic solution. Whereas if you add amount of salt in a glass full of water, which is that concentration is called as hypotonic solution. Okay, what it is called? Hypotonic solution. So here we will discuss with what is osmosis and what is imbibition. I am just giving you a small topic so that you will have a glance of all the topics in brief. We will go very slowly because we have got lots of time, so we will go very slowly with the topics. So today we will start with the osmosis topic. So what is osmosis? Movement of solvent particles from its higher concentration to its lower concentration. There is a condition over here, you can see, across a semi-permeable membrane. Initially in diffusion also we have studied the same. You can have a doubt, ma'am, what's the difference between diffusion and osmosis? Here the same thing, but here you will have a semi-permeable membrane in between. What? You have a semi-permeable membrane. Semi-permeable in the sense, what is permeable? Permeable in the sense, it is a substance through which you can pass any other liquid or solid materials. Okay, small, not obviously not heavy solid materials, very small minute particles can pass through a substance. That substance is called as permeable substance. Okay, here you can see it is called as semi permeable. Why it is called semi? What is semi? Half, isn't it? So the substances, or you can say the membrane through which only half particles, half in this is not exactly like half, it is like very small amount of particles or very few particles can pass through it. It is called a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, so I'll explain you once again. Movement of solvent particles from its higher concentration to its lower concentration across a semi-permeable membrane till it reaches equilibrium. Equilibrium in the sense, for example, you have got a bowl. Okay, you have got a bowl, a big ball, in which you have kept in between of the bowl, in the center of the bowl, you have placed a semi-permeable membrane. You can take an example of a muslin cloth or a cotton cloth. Okay, so you have placed a muslin cloth or cotton cloth. So in between the bowl, you have placed a muslin cloth. So when and here in a bowl, for example, this is your bowl. Okay, you can see in the diagram itself, that is your bowl. Okay, in between the partition, dots lines you can see, that is the semi-permeable membrane. On the right hand side, you can see the solution is dilute. Dilute in the sense, it is only the pure water. Okay, it is only the pure water. Whereas on the left side, you can see concentrated sugar solution. What do you mean by concentrated sugar solution? On the left side of the bowl, sugar solution is being added in that bowl. Okay, so concentrated sugar solution is being placed on the left hand side. So now movement of particles will be where? I told you, you can see higher concentration to lower concentration. So how it is possible? I just know it. You can have a doubt. Okay, ma'am, we have lots of more particles on the left hand side and we don't have any particles on the right hand side. Yes, that is the main difference. Here you can see, I told you that if in the pure water, the movement of particles will be very high. In the pure water, the movement of particles will be very high. Whereas in the concentrated solution, the movement of particles will not be high. Example I'll give you. You can take an example of NaCl. NaCl, you know, sodium chloride. So NaCl, whereas H2O is a single molecule, whereas NaCl you have two molecules. On the NaCl molecule, you have charged ions as well as. Okay, so when Na, or you can say sodium, is present, chlorine will come and bind to it on all the directions. Yes or no? Due to which what happens? This will occupy more space. Okay, this sodium chloride ion will occupy more space, resulting in resulting in hypotonic solutions. So similarly, here also you can see in dilute solution, that is dilute sugar solution, that is you don't have any sugar in the right hand side, whereas you have concentrated sugar solution on the left hand side. So you have net movement of molecules will be from right hand to the left hand. You can see that arrow marks in between. So movement of molecules from higher concentration, that is from more water, or you can say dilute sugar solution, to concentrated sugar solution where you have less water. You can see there less water. Okay, that is concentrated sugar solution. So movement will be from higher concentration to lower concentration through the semi-permeable membrane. Okay, and what do you mean by until it reaches the equilibrium is when you have a pipe, you can say a balanced pipe, or you can take a same example of ball. I'll give you example of pipe. So when movement of molecules is from left hand side to right hand side, it should be in equilibrium, like both the sides of the pipe should be same. It should not be like this or like this. It should always be the same. So the movement of molecules will be until, suppose it is like this, initial, in the first stage it is like this. The movement of molecules will be until like this. The movement will be until like this, or if suppose the movement is like this, initial movement is like this, the movement of molecules will be till equilibrium. Until equilibrium is reached, the movement of molecules will be going on. When will the movement end? When it reaches the equilibrium. When the equilibrium is reached, only then the movement of molecules will be halted, or you can say stopped. So you have various other definitions also. You can see movement of solvent particles from dilute to concentrated solution. Same thing, just revision of the definitions. Okay. So first will be movement of particles from higher concentration to lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Okay. Whereas movement of molecules from dilute concentration to concentrated solution. Okay. Next, third point will be movement of molecules, solvent molecules from hypotonic solution to hypertonic solution. What do you mean by hypotonic to hypertonic? It is like just how I told you, hypotonic is the concentrated solution which has more amount of salt particles, or you can say more salt particles. Hypertonic is more concentrated. Hyper, you can say, hypertension. So it is hyper, more concentrated, whereas hypo, less concentrated. Okay. So movement of molecules from lower concentration to higher concentration. It's just that you have various names for it. Okay. So it is from hypotonic solution to hypertonic solution. Okay. You can have a glance. I'll just explain you once again. Osmosis, it is the term coined by French physician, that is Jean-Joachim Henri Dutrochet. The movement of solvent particles from higher concentration to lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane until it reaches its equilibrium. Okay. Then movement of solvent particles from dilute concentration to concentrated solution is called as osmosis. And one more definition, movement of solvent particles from hypotonic solution to hypertonic solution is called as osmosis. The same definition. You have three different types of definitions for the osmosis itself. Okay, don't get confused. Next slide. What is osmosis? Osmosis is a vital process in biological systems, of course, as biological membranes are semi-permeable. In our body, each and every membrane is semi-permeable. Semi-permeable in the sense half permeable, not completely. Our skin does not allow complete movement of all the substances through it. Half substances will be going through the skin, not completely from the skin, but only half substances can pass through the skin. Okay. So you can say in our body, almost all the biological system, almost all the membranes are semi-permeable. In general, these membranes are impermeable to large and polar molecules. Of course, a large polar molecule, a large substance cannot pass through our skin. Whereas a small cream structures, like you can apply a cream which will be dissolved in your skin. Why? Because the creams, or you can say the moisturizers, will have very small surface area or very small polar molecular size. Whereas some particles which have large molecular size or more polar molecules cannot pass through our skin. Such as examples we have given, proteins, of course, ions, proteins, polysaccharides, all these substances cannot pass through our skin because the molecular weight and the surface area is higher than required. Okay. So while being permeable to non-polar or hydrophobic molecules like lipids, as well as small molecules like oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen and nitric oxide, all these particles, that is hydrophobic, can pass through our skin, whereas polysaccharides and higher molecules cannot pass through our skin. Permeability depends on solubility. What are the factors where permeability depends? Okay, the factors which are defining, or you can say the factors which are responsible for permeability of any molecule into our skin or into your semi-permeable membrane. You can say solubility. Of course, it should be soluble. Your cream should be soluble so that it can get into your skin. Charge, the ion charge, the chemistry, or as well as the solute size. Size also matters. Water molecules travel through the plasma membrane, that is tonoplast, or plasma membrane in our body, tonoplast, that is vacuole in the plant cell. Okay. Or protoplast by diffusing across the phospholipid bilayer, that is via aquaporins. What are aquaporins? We will come through it in a further classes. Aquaporins are nothing but you have a round tail-like structures in the plasma membrane. Okay, round body-like structures which have tail. Those are called as aquaporins. We will get to know in further classes. So the movement of substance, or you can say the factors which are affecting the movement of substances are these. So osmosis provides the primary means by which water is transported into and out of the cells. Water is transported mainly water is transported into and out of the cells by osmosis. Okay, and the turgor pressure of a cell is largely maintained by osmosis across the cell membrane between the cell interior and its relatively hypotonic environment. That is nothing but, just now I told you, is equilibrium is maintained. This equilibrium should be maintained so that the cell is in active condition. Okay, if the cell, if you want the cells to be need to be in active condition, the cell the osmotic pressure should be maintained. Okay, if the osmotic pressure is maintained, only then the cell will be in a fresh and active condition. Okay, so coming to the next slide, osmosis can be demonstrated with potato slides. And here this is very important experiment. You have this experiment in your second year's end practical session. So here what you will do, I'll just give you a brief explanation of what is the experiment. Osmosis, in that experiment you will be discussing about how osmosis is done in using potato, live potato. You will take a potato, and I hope you have done these experiment in your 10th standard. Again I am going to explain you in brief. You will be taking 2 potatoes, where you will be cutting down the potato in a cup like structure, and you will be placing a pure water solution, or you can say your wish, you can add a hypotonic solution or hypertonic solution. Hypertonic is you can add sugar solution, hypotonic is, or you can add salt solution. So in a cup or in a potato, you will be making it in a cup like structure, where in which you will be adding some hypertonic solution or some sugar solution. Then after addition of some sugar solution, you will be taking a bowl or a petri plate. You'll get to know what is petri plate. It's a long plate like structure in which you will be adding some pure water or distilled water. Okay, and this potato, what you have done, what you have cutted, and some amount of solution is being added in that. So now you will be placing this potato in that petri plate. Okay, you will be placing that potato in that petri plate. After placing that potato in the petri plate, you can observe, you can point a pin, or you can say you can keep a pin at the entrance of the solution till where you have added the solution in the potato. Okay, you can place a pin at the point till where you have added the hypertonic solution in the potato. After some time, or you can say after 4 to 5 hours, you can see that there is a difference between the movement of molecules from that hypotonic solution into the petri plate. You can see, what you can observe is, you can see that the solution in the potato is decreased. You can see, for your confirmation, you can add some amount of color in the potato, inside the potato, that is in the hypertonic solution. When you are preparing hypertonic solution, which is nothing but the salt or sugar solution, you can add some color so that it can be easily visible to you. So when you are adding some color, you can say some red color. For example, take a red color. So you are taking a red colored hypertonic solution in the potato tube, and you have placed that tube in the petri plate. Okay, you can see after some time that the movement of color will be observed, that the petri plate, which is only a pure water, in the petri plate, which is only a pure white water, will be turned into a red color. How come? And what is acting as a semi-permeable membrane here? The potato. You can see there in the slide itself. You can in the first A slide, you can see I have kept a potato, which is in which the tube in the potato in which the tube, the water is very less in quantity, whereas in the second slide, in the second table, you can see the petri plate, or you can see the tube is filled with water itself. Here it's just the reverse of the solution. That is, in the first A, in the first A slide, you can see in the experiment, the beaker contains the sugar solution. The beaker contains the sugar solution, and the potato contains the plain water. Potato contains the plain water. In the B point, you can see the potato is in the B point. You can see the in the potato tube, the water concentration is being increased, whereas in the bucket, the water concentration is being reduced. How come? So here you can see the hypertonic solution which is present inside the beaker or in the tub, in the bucket, is being transferred into the potato, which is normal water. in the potato, initially it was the only pure water. Okay, you can do the experiment either this way or that way, your wish. Okay, so in the potato it was the pure plain water, where in the second B, in the B part, you can see the concentration in the potato itself is being increased. How come it is increased? Because the outer concentration, that is in the beaker, the concentration is very high, whereas in the potato the concentration is very low, because of which osmosis has been taking place. That is movement of water from beaker, that is higher concentration, to lower concentration, that is inside the potato tube, through a semi-permeable membrane. What is a semi-permeable membrane? Basic thing, potato is acting as a semi-permeable membrane over here. You can see one more slide over, one more picture over there, that is movement of solutions in a tube-like structure, in a U-tube-like structure, where you can see initially, in the initial picture, you can see both the structures were in equilibrium. In the second final stage, you can see movement of substances is being reduced in the P2 stage, P2 U-tube, in a U-tube. In the P2 structure, the movement of water is being reduced. Why it is reduced? Because the concentrated solution has been moved from higher concentration to lower concentration, that is through semi-permeable membrane. Same thing, because in initial stage, the water was more in P2 stage. Yes or no? On the right hand side, the water was very high and the solute particles were very less, because of which the movement of molecules has been transferred from right hand side to left hand side through the semi-permeable membrane, which is in between, which is diluted, which is dissolved salt. Here you can see down in the red, in the bottom, you can see that is a dissolved salt. That is, those red particles are nothing but dissolved salt, which are moving from higher concentration to lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. This experiment you will be doing in your further classes. Okay, so next slide. Next, we will start with osmosis in animal cell. How does osmosis takes place in animal cell? Osmosis in you will be having three subcategories of osmosis, that is isotonic solution, hypotonic solution, hypertonic solution. In isotonic solution, the substance is the same as the outer membrane as well as in the inner membrane. That is nothing but, you can see in the slide at the bottom, in the animal cell, that is, I am taking an example of a RBC cell. Okay, in an RBC cell, that is nothing but movement of molecules will be same in an RBC cell as well as in the normal blood cell. In the center one, the red color one structure is called as RBC cell, whereas the outer structure is called as normal blood cell. Okay, so the isotonic solution, for example, you can take a small beaker, or I'll give you an example of small sponge. Okay, the movement of molecules, for example, the movement of molecules will be same inside and outside the sponge. If you are giving, it's just like give and take response. Okay, if you are giving 2 chocolates to someone, you will also receive 2 chocolates from someone. Similar thing. Okay, isotonic is nothing but same, getting same equal response. You can take an example of 0.9% NaCl or 5% glucose. Okay, where in these two categories, usually response, or you can say the movement of molecules will be same. Whatever you give to the cell molecule or blood molecules, same thing will be in return you will get the same thing from blood molecules or cell molecules. Okay, that condition is called as isotonic solution. Whereas hypotonic solution is dilute solution. Here the cellular content is more concentrated than outer medium, so the net movement will be flaccid, that is outer cell into the inner cell, which results in swelling up of cells known as endoosmosis. What is meant by endoosmosis? The cellular concentration. What do you mean by cellular concentration? The cell, you can see at the center you have a red colored structure. In that the concentration will be more. Okay, the cellular concentration is very high, whereas outside the cell, in the hypotonic solutions, the outside the cell, that is the cream colored box, will be more concentrated than inside the cell. Okay, that red colored structure is less concentrated, whereas the outer box is more concentrated, due to which what happens, you can see the arrow marks there, the concentration from the box will be entering into the cell, making it hypotonic. Hypotonic is nothing but what happens when For example, you have a small cotton structure, cotton in your hand. When you put that cotton in the water, what happens? The cotton gets bulged up. Similarly, in this also, what happens when the solution or solvent particles move from outside the area into the cell becomes flaccid, or you can say the cell will be bulged in some size, and that swelling up is known as endoosmosis. Okay, what it is called? Endoosmosis. And later on, what happens? This cell becomes turgid in the sense tight, and gets ruptured. Okay, this cell becomes turgid and get ruptured. Due to which what happens? The cell or the body gets ruptured, or the cells become very weak. Okay, or cell dies, you can say. I'll just give you a glance again. Hypotonic solution is nothing but movement of molecules. The cellular content is more concentrated than the outer medium, where you can see the inside the box the cells will be moving from outer concentrated solution into the inside the concentrated solution, and the cell becomes more bulged or in big in size, due to which the cell become turgid and then ruptures. Next, hypertonic solution is the cellular content is less concentrated than the inner cell, and the movement from inside to outside. Of course, the cellular content is nothing but the cell. The middle red colored structure is more concentrated than the outside the box. So what happens? Of course, where is higher concentration? Inside the RBC cell. So the movement will be from RBC cell to outside the blood molecule. Okay. So here what happens? When there is movement, when you squeeze that sponge or cotton, what happens? That will become into a shrinkage structure. Yes or no? When you squeeze a cotton molecule, cotton ball, which is bulged up, what happens? It gets shrink. Similarly, here also same thing happens. When the movement of molecules from inside the cell will be moved out of the cell, same thing happens. The cell becomes shrinkage, and that condition is called as exoosmosis condition. What it is called? Exoosmosis condition. And that cell gets shrinked or flaccid and gets crinated. Crinated is nothing but tightly coiled. Or you can say like we fold our aluminium foils, you know that paper, you fold your paper, isn't it? That's called condition is called as crinated condition. Okay. So next slide. Here in previous slide we have studied about animal cell. Now we will be studying it osmosis in plant cell. Here what happens? The same thing happens in isotonic solution, that is the medium will be same, the movement of substances from higher concentration to the lower concentration will be same. That is, if you are giving 1%, then you will also receive 1%. That is, the same movement will be done. Example is the same. Next, in hypotonic solution, the cellular content is the same, but here there is a difference. Small differences. We all know that plants have a cell wall. A benzene kind of structure, that is a benzene cell wall is present inside a plant cell. Okay. So due to the presence of a plant cell, that is turgid plant cell, very rigid, very tight plant cell, here the bulging will be very slow, like it's just a slight bulging. Initial in the animal cell there will be a large bulging and the cell gets ruptured, but here it is like a small swelling. Suppose this is the plant cell, only a small, like this, only a small swelling is done in case of hypotonic solution. Same thing happens, that is movement of solutions from the outer structure, that is the higher concentration, into the lower concentration is done, that is inside the cell is done. But in case of bulging, only a small or slight bulging is done, due to which what happens, the cell will not get ruptured. You can see the cell will not get ruptured because the presence of cell wall. The cell wall is very tight or very thick in nature, because of which the cell will not get ruptured. Only a slight bulging can be seen in case of hypotonic solution. Remaining everything is the same. Next, here there is a difference in hypertonic solutions of the animal cell and the plant cell. Here the hypertonic solution which is done in case of plants is called as plasmolysis. What is plasmolysis is? It's defined as the process of contraction or shrinkage of protoplasm of the plant cell and is caused due to the loss of water in the cell. Plasmolysis is an example of the results of osmosis and rarely occurs in nature. What is it? You can have that in next slide. I'll just give you a explanation, brief explanation. You can see that in a picturized manner. Here what happens? We all know that plant cell consists of vacuole. Yes or no? Vacuole cell. So when in a plant cell there is a vacuole cell and there is some cell organelles are present. So whenever their hypertonic solution is being moved, or you can say whenever the cell gets shrinked, the complete cell wall will not get shrinked. Only the cell sap, or you can say if this is your cell, okay, if this is your cell, only the part of the cell, inside layer, here one more layer is there, here one more layer is present, okay, inside layer which is called as cytoplasmic layer or ascent of sap layer only gets moved, only gets shrinked, but the cell wall remains the same. You can say the cell wall remains the same. So when this only small ascent of sap gets shrinkage, later on when this ascent of sap is kept in a hypotonic solution, that is in higher concentrated solution, again what happens, the concentrated solution, you can say this is the beaker, now this is the shrinkage cell, the movement will be from higher concentrated solution to lower concentrated solution. So the movement will be from higher concentrated to lower concentrated, again the cell will become into a normal position. This process is called as deplasmolysis. So what is it, you will be seeing in the next slide. So here you can see in the first picture, very first picture, don't read all those statements, you will get confused, just see the pictures, okay. In the first you can see that is A, that is the vacuole, the green colored structure is vacuole. In the second slide, when the concentrated solution, or you can say when the concentrated solution is more in the vacuole. Now in the first A, in the A, I'll just give you A, B, C, D, you'll get an idea. In A, the concentrated solution is more present in the vacuole, whereas it is less present in the outside the cell, okay, that is in the cell wall area. So in B's picture, you can see the vacuole is getting shrink, but the cell wall is not getting shrink, the cell wall is remaining as the same, okay, the cell wall is remaining as the same. Whereas when you go to picture C, in that you can see the cell wall, the vacuole is completely shrinked, yes or no, the vacuole is completely shrinked, moving the external saps, those are called, those links you can see, those links are called as saps. So only the sap will be coming together, but not the cell wall. The cell wall is remaining as the same. See properly. You can see the black colored line, that is box like structure, that is the cell wall which is remaining the same, whereas the vacuole is getting shrink. Upper green colored structures are called as plasmolysis. What are they called as? Plasmolysis. Below that you can see that is D like structure, not D, you go with F like structure, okay, we'll go with F like structure, like after C you go with F. What happens here, when that vacuole structure, the same vacuole structure, you are placing that solution in a hypertonic solution, okay, same vacuole structure. Now inside the vacuole you don't have anything now, because everything has been shrinked, yes or no. So now this vacuole is being kept in a hypotonic or hypertonic solution. Now what happens, where is the concentration more, inside the beaker or inside the vacuole? Of course inside the beaker. So now what happens, the movement will be from the beaker into the vacuole, okay. So you can see in the pic E, you can see the vacuole is again becoming into a normal condition, yes or no. So in the completely in the D, you can see A and D are almost same, yes or no. So the upper three green colored structure are called as plasmolysis, where the concentration will be shrinking from hypertonic solution to hypotonic solution. In F to D, you can see from hypotonic solution it is again becoming into hypertonic solutions. So in this you can say the vacuole structure, or you can say the vacuole present inside the cell only gets shrinkage, whereas the cell wall will not get shrinkage, okay. So here you can see the upper green colored structures are called as plasmolysis, whereas the lower red colored structure are called as deplasmolysis, okay. So what is the difference between those slides are nothing but the cell shape will not change. In the initial stages, you can see in the animal cell, the cell shape, the complete cell, the RBC cell will get shrinkage, whereas in this molecule, that is in the plant cell, the cell wall structure will not change, it remains the same. Only inside the cell, that is the vacuole structure will get changed, but the cell wall structure or the complete cell will be the same. For example, inside your body, whatever happens outside the body will, you cannot see what is happening inside your body. Inside your body, some organs get damaged or something had happened, which we cannot observe. that is happening in the plant cell. Okay, so in the next slide, that is imbibition. It is what is meant by imbibition? It is the adsorption of water. I'm not telling absorption, it is adsorption of water inside the cell. Okay, definition: imbibition is the type of diffusion where the water is absorbed by the solid particles called as colloids. The solid particles are called colloids, causing an enormous increase in the volume. What is it? I will give you an example. The solution is not formed in the process. In other words, the water absorption by colloids is known as imbibition. Colloids are hydrophilic in nature. Hydrophilic is nothing but which can absorb more amount of water in nature. Basic example, I'll give you a seed. A basic seed. If you take a seed, what happens when you put it in a water? What happens? It gets bulged up. Yes or no? And similarly, when you place it in the soil, of course, it takes water, and only then it gets grown into a new plant. Yes or no? So you can take a basic example of seed which is germinating. Okay, that those germinating seeds take more amount of water in them and gets germinated or imbibed. That structure, when that condition of taking more amount of water into a solid particle, that is through a solid particle. Seed is a solid particle. Yes or no? So through a solid particle is called as imbibition. Okay, so here the solid substances are referred to as imbibant. That is, the seeds are called as imbibants, and the imbibed liquid is referred to as imbibate. Basic example: water is called as imbibate, whereas the seed are called as imbibants. Basic. This is a small topic you have. Example: the absorption of water by seed or dry wood. You can take an example of dry wood. Dry wood, which when you put some water, slowly the water gets imbibed in the wood. During the rainy season, what happens? The wood which is present, outside the area or in the open area, what happens? That wood gets more bulged, absorbs more amount of water and gets bulged up. Okay, the capacity of imbibing will differ in different imbibants. Of course, you can say the cotton cloths will imbibe more faster than some other nylon or some other types of cloths. Yes or no? Cotton cloths will imbibe more water than other types of cloths. So you can say there is a difference between imbibing capacities of different imbibants. For instance, consider protein. Since the hydrophilic colloids, it will have maximum imbibing capacities. Compared to this, starch will have less capacity and cellulose with least capacity. You can put an arrow mark there. You can see proteins, that is seeds, have more imbibing capacity than starch, then cellulose. Okay, proteins, then comes starch, then comes cellulose. So you can see a growing difference, a larger difference, where proteins will have more imbibing capacities than starches, then cellulose particles. Okay, next slide. So what are the conditions in imbibition are water potential gradient, that is imbibition pressure. What is the imbibition pressure? When dry imbibant with high negative potential comes in contact with water, a steep gradient or water potential is created and water diffuses rapidly from its higher potential into the imbibant. Basic thing, I'll explain. Don't go with the definition. I'll explain you in a simple terms. That is, for example, there is a big mountain. Okay, inside a mountain there is a slope, or you can say there is a steep. Okay, inside this steep, a small seed is being produced or fallen from during pollination. Okay, during pollination, this is a mountain. Okay, inside the mountains, a small seed is being fallen here. When there is a rainfall, what happens? This seed which is fallen inside the steep, or you can say inside the hot rocky material, gets absorbed or imbibed. Whatever water is being produced by the rain is being imbibed by the seed. Later on, what happens? This seed will get germinated, will get more potential. Okay, this seed will produce more potential. That is nothing but potential gradient. Water potential gradient is nothing but this seed will have potential from water. I already told you, water has more potential. Pure water will have more kinetic energy and more potential. Okay, so that potential will be transferred now into the seed. Yes or no? So the imbibant, that is the seed, will have more water potential. Next, heat of wetting is nothing but energy in the form of heat is released during the imbibition. It is called heat of wetting. That is nothing but whenever there is a seed germination, what happens? Some amount of heat is being released. some amount of heat is being released during the imbibition. What happens whenever you pour some water in the dry land? What happens? Some amount of gases or some amount of fog will be released. Yes or no? That is nothing but release of heat during the imbibition. When something absorbs more amount of heat, and when you pour some amount of water in that, some amount of heat is being released. Okay. Next, increase in volume. Volume of the imbibant increases during imbibition. Example, swelling of soaked seeds, swelling of wooden frames during rainy season. Of course, when you put some water, what happens? Seeds get swelled up. Yes or no? And also, basic example, just now I told you, that is during the rainy season, what happens when water will be water falls on the wooden frames or wooden material, they get increase in the size. Okay. So next slide. Factors affecting imbibition. What are the main factors which are affecting imbibition? Is pressure. With pressure, more amount of pressure, more amount imbibing capacity is produced by the imbibant. And texture of the imbibant, of course, if the texture is very smooth or very slight, very thin cell wall is present, the water will be easily permeable. pH of the medium, of course, if it is acidic medium, it cannot get into the cell. If the solution of if the substance is very acidic in nature, the water cannot get passed through it. If it is basic and neutral, then it is easily pass. It can easily pass. Affinity of the imbibant for the imbibate, that is nothing but what is, of course, we know that seeds are very eager. They are like very hungry for the water. Yes or no? So the nature towards imbibant and imbibate is very important factor, which results in more imbibing capacities. Okay. So what is the significance of imbibition? It facilitates water absorption. Of course, seeds can absorb more amount of water in that and store in that. It helps in seed germination. Unless and until you have seed germination, you cannot get a new plant. Next, it keeps the cells moisture. We all know that if you drink more amount of water, your body gets moisture and you have more amount of moisture in your body. Yes or no? Similarly, plant cells as well as any protein material which imbibes more amount of water will have moisture in them and will be fresh for more time, and it can be having more amount of moisture in its cells and can survive for more time. So, and this will be the last slide for you. So we'll discuss with the next topics, that is water potential and everything, in the next slide. So in this slide we have studied what about osmosis, types of osmosis, osmosis in plant cell and animal cell, plasmolysis, imbibition and types of imbibition, factors affecting imbibition and significance of imbibition. So just go through each and every topic, you'll have an idea about it. Okay, if you want, you can